This week on Full Credit to the Noise, brought to you by Parcel Protect. The Magnificent Seven become the Fantastic Four. Garth Tander swaps a race seat for Scaife's seat. And we wash up the Sandown 2x250. Welcome to Full Credit to the Noise. Well, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Full Credit to the Noise. You can find this podcast on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at FCTTN Podcast. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, and Facebook at former_legend. You can find the bloke across me on Twitter at AVL_motorsport. He's on Instagram at AVL.motorsport. He's a man who this week denied any knowledge of 4 missing hitchhikers between Perth and Adelaide. He's just bought 3 houses from this year's season of The Block, and tonight he's wearing a blue singlet and stubbies. Welcome to Speak Cafe's Andrew van Leeuwen.
Thank you, Former. I'm coming to you from the beautiful little seaside town of Ceduna in South Australia, en route to Malala for the big homecoming race next weekend from Perth. So I do apologise for the late recording time to you and to Grant, who has to edit this thing when we're done. It's easy to forget that you do lose 2.5 hours when you get to the South Australian, West Australian border, and suddenly you go, oh, this day just got a lot shorter real fast. So apologies, it's a little bit late, but...
You were saying as you rolled into Ceduna, you had to wind your clock back to 1948.
It is. No, it's a nice little place, but we're kind of a bit hamstrung on where we can stay because we're running a semi-trailer over here, so we're right out on the highway. But anyway, I've recorded in less ideal conditions, so I think we'll be fine.
All right. Did you get to see Sandown? Because I know that you were picking up hitchhikers at the time.
There was none of that. Yes, I did get to watch most of it actually. Managed to sort of jerry-rig the Starlink up in the truck and managed to watch a fair bit of it. So it kind of made the Sunday go past quite fast, to be honest.
Yeah,
and it was good. It was just a great we'll get onto this, but if you don't think finals made that race weekend better than it otherwise would have been, then you just I can't help you. Sorry, just made that better. It made it better.
I agree, and you know I do, but maybe avoid social media if you don't have to go looking too hard. Let's just put it that way.
I just don't get it. Like, even before that Saturday race, sitting there knowing you've got Chaz in, Woody not in, all like Will Brown down the back. It was awesome. How is that race anywhere near? How is it even the build up to it? How is it anywhere near that good without finals?
Well, it's not.
Just not.
No,
it's not.
Well, let's do some champagne and shies, and we'll start with champagne. Can I just say, the Super Utes, it was like the last day of school. They didn't get to do their last race, which was an absolute shame.
Yeah, that was a shame.
The race before, they collectively lost their minds. There was insanity, some of that racing. There was just blokes rubbing panels and dives and everything else. There's just a little bit of amateur enough to be entertaining AVL and professional enough to look good. I'm absolutely here for it. They've come a long way from the inception of this category, and congratulations to Dave Cedars, it should be said, for winning the title. Just an absolute... It's good. If you can just take it for what it is, it's good to watch.
Yeah, no, for sure. They kind of really profited from the downturn that the whole kind of Speed Series thing kind of had once it went behind that stand paywall. But that's the reality of that. And it was well priced, and they made the right call to go to that V8 engine, and it has become a really entertaining support category.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no doubt about that. So they have... I actually... It's funny, I had exactly the same thought watching one of the races, whether I can't remember if it was Saturday or Sunday, but I just thought there's just so many cars. Like, they really have turned this into something really worthwhile in terms of the Supercars undercard. It
wasn't that long ago, there was 9 cars rating the cars on the grid, and we were like, well, how long is this going to go on for before we just call it a day? But yeah, they've rescued it and turned it into something it's worth watching anyway. My next champagne goes to Will Brown, AVL. He set a lap in Saturday's qualifying and then decided to park it while 14 blokes went outside and went better. And then he carved through the field to second. And then on Sunday, he qualified 17th and then ran third. I mean, no one right now has figured out how he's done both the Saturday and Sunday races, but talk about a rescue job. And I said on in the Discord, when he qualified on 17th on Sunday, the luck has to run out eventually when you keep doing this. But make me look like a liar, absolutely stellar performance yet again to go all the way to Adelaide now.
Yeah, that's the amazing thing. And he's kind of just keeps doing it. Like
Yeah.
that is the point. Like he just doesn't seem to pay the penalty for what are incredibly poor qualifying performances, particularly against his teammate, who was the benchmark qualifier of the season. So it is incredible that he does keep doing it, and it's easy to say, and it is a very fair point that he can't ride his luck that hard into Adelaide. But he won in Adelaide last year from almost last or whenever it was as well. Yeah. So like maybe he can, but surely they just need to sit down and work out how to tune him up over a lap, and get that sorted, because they kind of just can't. Yeah, the luck does have to run out one day. Sure.
It's got to. My next champagne goes to Kai Allen. Not so much for making the Final Four, we'll talk about that later, but for not sandbagging to let Matt Payne through, as the commentary team was suggesting he might do on Sunday. One of the more extraordinary things I've heard them suggest. Why would a young bloke sandbag to let his teammate into the Final Four and him have a weekend off? Well, not metaphorically. Make it make sense, AVL.
Well, I guess it would. The only way it makes sense is if the team asked him to do it, because they felt that Matt Payne was their better chance, as a proven race winner, was their better chance at going to Adelaide and winning them the championship. And that's probably not an entirely unfair kind of stance to take, but asking Kai to move over when he'd done absolutely nothing wrong. And
it's unbelievable.
And Matt had kind of brought on his own issues himself to a very large extent, would have been a staggering thing to do. So I'm glad they didn't do that, and it was good that that Couchy shut it down very quickly when he was asked. Is there any chance you might ask Kai to filter back through the field to help Matt get into finals? And he said, no, I don't think we can do that. Kai's earned the kind of right to be there. So yeah, there is a theory. I was surprised how quickly they swapped those cars in the Saturday race, to be honest. That was where I thought, oh, okay, well maybe they really are focused on trying to get Matt through, and they're a little less concerned about whether Kai goes through. But in the end, when it came down to that Sunday situation, it was, I think, the right decision to let it play out as it did.
Mate, he's riding a wave at the moment. I wouldn't stand in the way of that just quietly. He's the sort of luck he's been having, and I'm not saying it's been through luck it hasn't been through hard work, but he's had a fair bit of luck to get to where he is, and I'd be running that for everything it's worth. My final champagne goes to Jared Hughes. He's been commentating the 86ers, AVL. I don't know if you've noticed for the last two rounds. Absolute breath of fresh air sitting next to Chad and to Lownsy. I really like his insight. He's got a really good sense of humour, and I am here for it. Probably won't hear much of it next year, but...
Yeah, no, I agree. It's again funny that you have this on the rundown, because I was listening to it on Saturday and I thought, how good's this guy? And I actually sent a message to Stefan and said, this guy's an amazing commentator. So it is like, he's just got that bubbly personality that really works in that TV role. Plus, obviously, the insight of someone who is in the thick of their junior motor racing career still. He did a fantastic job.
We'll head over to Shizen. My first one goes to Tickford. Another year goes by without a title AVL, but this year in particular looks so good early. When we were both at Sydney Motorsport Park, it was how is Cameron Waters going to get beaten this year when they left there? But we kind of knew they were in trouble when Waters declared he'd come out swinging on Sunday, or was he talking about swinging at Beardo in the car park on the way out the door?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I mean, the fact of the matter is, like, Cam Waters hasn't won since that Sydney round. So it's actually remarkable that they were kind of still, this is a point we were making on the news pod on Thursday. Like, they kind of went from, after Sydney, you went, oh no, finals is going to be the banana peel that trips them up. They're finally going to have this year where they're so dominant, and then, they have this potential to lose the title. And in the end, it's finals that actually kept both Cam and Tom in contention until this weekend. So, they have had a tough year. And, it's hard to... They just didn't do enough. It's not like... I mean, we can talk about the Will Brown penalty and the Matt Payne contact and this and that, but realistically, you didn't look at either of those Tickford cars and think, oh, this car... Even if Cam had got through, it just... I don't know. You never know in Adelaide, but it just didn't feel like they're right in the game.
I know I'm Monday's quarterback right now, but given the form that they have shown in the last sort of 6 or 8 rounds... A lot of people were tipping him to be in the Final Four, and you look back now and say, where was, outside of reputation, where was that tip coming from? Because there's been no real pace.
Yeah, I mean, I tipped him to go through because I thought that Sandown was a sort of weekend when he would be able to really grab the bull by the horns and get through, and then he gets to Adelaide, and then he is a factor, but it just wasn't there.
No.
It just absolutely wasn't there.
DJR, my next Shizen, for nothing else but copping $4,000 worth of parking fines, which makes my $690 fine from earlier this year when the Supercars launch was held in Sydney look pretty meagre. On Friday afternoon's ride session, both Shell Mustangs were observed parking parallel in the team's pit bay while loading and unloading passengers. Supercars rules state that cars are not permitted to park parallel in pit bay at any time during the event ride session. $4K. Is that tax deductible? I'm asking for a friend right now.
I've got absolutely no idea.
My next Shizen is Mark Larkham. Only for this quote, they need whipping with a bike chain. I mean, I'm not sure 2025 we could chuck out that sort of hellfire sort of gear from Larkham. But anyway, who knew? What if he knows the trough boy? Critical of teams that didn't pit midway through Q1 and change tyres like Reynolds did, and he finished 23rd in qualifying. By the way, AVL, just talking about commentary over the weekend, I'm not sure, but apparently there's a few changes of surfaces at Sandown if you weren't sure.
Wow, really? Is that right?
And finally, Craig Baird. We've been pretty complimentary of Beardo this year, but I reckon he might have got one wrong on Sunday when he gave Cam Waters that penalty. What did you think of it? Because that nudge that Brownie said he was going to go through the infield anyway seemed to be a bit stiff.
Yeah, I think so. I have to agree with that. I don't think it should have been a penalty. I understand what Beardo was saying in terms of, when he explained it, he said, well, I had to because, Cam did touch him and the other car went off the road. So it's difficult not to give him a penalty there. So I sort of get the theory behind it. And I agree with Beardo more often than not. I genuinely do. But I think that both of those cars were sufficiently deep into the corner that it could be classed as a racing incident, to be honest. And in finals as well. I think it would be nice to see the whistle put away a little bit in those circumstances. It was two finals contenders kind of going at it.
Yep.
And I think it could have been left alone without a penalty. So yeah, I do agree with you on that one.
All right, let's go to the Shift Cup because we'll wrap up the weekend and touch on some of the news that happened during that time.
4, 3, 1.
As we said, Sandown happened. On Saturday it was dry and WAU dominated proceedings, AVL. Ryan Wood stuck it on pole and then ran rear gunner for Chazzy to guarantee Chaz a start in the Final Four at Adelaide. Will Brown somehow, as we mentioned, rescued a dog's nuts qualifying effort to overtake a trillion cars and grab second with Ryan Wood third. Ryan did enough to hold up Will so that he could protect Chaz. I think we could all agree with that. What did you make of Woody sort of running that tail gunner thing? I know we'll talk about it a little bit later, but is it a good thing, right thing, fair thing?
Of course it's a fair thing. They were racing for position.
Right.
That's absolutely fine. I have absolutely no. I thought the theatre of it was amazing. And, when I was sitting there waiting for the race to start, you knew that's what was going to happen.
Yep.
You knew that was going to be the tactic. And I was excited for it. I was looking forward to seeing how that. I didn't think it was going to be Will Brown.
No, I don't think anyone did.
He was playing and having to play rear gunner against. But, no, I absolutely love the theatre of it. I think Ryan did a fantastic job of delaying Will just enough to make sure he wouldn't get demossed it, and it was just, it was. I enjoyed every bit of it.
Do we call Ryan Wood Ryan Piastri now, or do we call him Ryan Perez? Because Checo did the same thing to Lewis a few years ago.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I feel like Woody's a bit faster than Sergio, to be honest, but that's
that's harsh. That's harsh. On Sunday, it was a bit of rain and dry conditions. Brock booked his place in the Adelaide Grand Final with a masterclass in qualifying. He did that lap and he said, I wasn't even sure whether it was good or not. I was just hanging on, and it was more than good. He led a lot of the race in pretty tricky conditions. Will Brown, again, put on another passing masterclass after qualifying a qualifying horror show. Saw him start 17th. He rose to third in what was a bloody good 81 lapper.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. No, it was a good race and a big win for Brock, to be honest, because he hadn't actually won since Ipswich. And yeah, just capped off a good weekend of finals car racing, which is a whole new concept, obviously, but I like it.
Yeah, and as you said, the concept goes down to 4 now, and they'll fight it out for the Supercars Championship title in Adelaide. Is it the BP Adelaide?
Yes, it is.
Just checking. It's not Clipsal. We're not.
No.
Okay.
No.
they've been locked in. It's Chaz, it's Brock, Will Brown, who's an absolute gun racer but a shit qualifier, and former legend sneaky tip Kai Allen in there for fourth. If you're framing a market, what are you looking at? Who's the favourite there?
Well, Chaz just feels like he's in such good form. That's just like he's won 3 of the 4 finals races. He's very good in Adelaide. We just at least, and again we'll get onto this, at least like whether it's bad luck or whatever's happening with the mechanical issues at that team seem to be happening on the other side of the garage.
You've just put the curse on him. Well done.
Yeah. Sorry, WAU boys and girls. But
Bruce will be wrapped.
Yeah. But it's yeah, I don't know. It feels like he's the form guy. But what does that win do for Brock? And Brock really is the one who goes in there as the championship leader, has, dominated that Sprint Cup and will probably feel a little bit like, this is his championship. So, yeah, they're the two that I would definitely have as the favourite. You reckon Kai's going to win it? You reckon Kai's going to steal it?
Mate, he's still coming. I tipped him to make the 4. Everyone laughed at me. He's now in the 4.
You did also tip Matty Payne to go through. So
well, I wasn't far off.
It wasn't a perfect tip.
Till the human wrecking ball ripped through him and put him out of contention.
Well, we could talk about that. But here's why. I got to be honest, I hope Kai Allen doesn't win the championship.
Oh.
And it's nothing against Kai, and it's nothing against the Groves
it doesn't sound like
or anything. Here's my concern with it, is that a rookie who goes to Adelaide having never won a main game Supercars race, goes and wins the title. I just feel like it's ammunition for the finals naysayers. And I just don't, because it's been such an amazing finals series, and I am just clearly and admittedly in love with this finals format. I just feel like that's going to test the friendship of the fan base to the wider audience just a little too much. I think it'd be a different story if Matty Payne was going in there as a Bathurst winner, a race winner, that sort of stuff. But I think I'm so impressed with Kai this season, unbelievably impressed. But I think we really, for the format to really be proven, I think we kind of need to see one of the other 3 and probably one of Chaz or Brock win it. And
don't forget, 6 weeks until you can punch Santa Claus and pull Rudolph's ears.
But do you not agree? Do you not see any merit in that argument?
I see your point, but mate, this is what dreams are made of. So
no, for sure, and it is kind of, I guess it's the feature, not a flaw of the whole point of it. But I think that might just be it might just, like I say, test the friendship of the wider fan base a little bit, having someone, in their first year that hasn't won a race before the grand final go in there and suddenly become the Supercars champion. It might just cast a bit harsher spotlight on the format than it deserves.
Rick Kelly won his title by winning only 1 race, and didn't Russell win a title without winning a race? So it happens.
Yeah, but they'd also won races before. They weren't zero. Right. They weren't 0-time race winners in their career. So,
see your point.
Yeah.
Garth Tander has retired from Supercars competition. He ends his driving career with 1 championship, 6 Bathurst 1000s, 58 race wins over more than 2 decades. The 48-year-old is expected, but not yet confirmed, to be making a move into a main commentary role on the Supercars broadcast. Grove Racing, however, has affirmed Tander will continue to be involved in the Penrite-backed team. Through a new role, he will remain an integral part of the team in his new role as team and driver advisor, the team said in a statement. Just fantastic. I kind of feel like it's great, but also a letdown to be leaving after winning Bathurst. I just feel like there might be 1 or 2 left in him, but I get it.
Yeah, you never know on that front. But at the end of the day, his driving career was always going to have a shorter shelf life than what his potential media career has. So I guess it makes perfect sense to prioritise that at some point. And why not do it after you've just won the Bathurst 1000? Yes, he might be able to do another couple of years or whatever. But what a perfect time to, say this is it. And I'm now going to focus on the next phase of my career. And, as we see, we don't know exactly how the TV thing's going to shake out. And I think there'll be some transitional phases and this and that. But as we've seen from how long Neil Crompton and Mark Scaife have been in that commentary box, if the opportunity to get in there comes up, you kind of have to take it because it doesn't come up all that often. So
I see your point.
So when you've won 6 Bathursts already, you might win a 7th or an 8th Bathurst or whatever, but also this is a way to set up the whole next phase of your life for however long. So I think it makes perfect sense that Garth, and Garth is incredibly clever. He's great at the TV stuff, so I can totally understand how he reached a position where he went, nah, I think this is what I'm going to focus on now.
I don't know. I feel like Tander out, Jared Hughes in for me behind the commentary microphone. Tickford Racing youngster Lockie Dalton will join Erebus Motorsport for the 2026 Enduro Cup in a team that might just be the youngest or the 4 youngest drivers to tackle the mountain ever. I think the oldest bloke's like 24.
Yep. It's a very young lineup.
Speaking of Tickford, they've revealed the colours that the NASCAR racer Austin Cindric will carry when he joins the Supercars field as a wildcard at the Adelaide Grand Final. Cindric will compete with a striking orange livery featuring major backing from Armour All, Repco and Ford. Looks the goods, by the way. And carrying the famous Tickford Racing number 5. The 27-year-old Penske Cup driver completed a handful of solo laps today, Monday, before spending the rest of the day taking passengers around the Melbourne circuit. Tall unit, isn't he?
Yeah, yep. No, he had to sort of cram when he went for the ride with Cam Waters on Friday. He had to really bend his frame into that car. But he kind of said to Stefan spoke to him afterwards, and he said, "Well, that's just been my whole life trying to fit into race cars." So that's
I hear you, brother. I hear
you. So that'll be it's obviously going to be fascinating to see how Austin goes. They're testing at the Bend during the week, and then they'll head to Adelaide. Obviously, just going back to the Lockie Dalton Erebus thing, that's quite interesting because there was some real chat that Lockie was in the frame to partner Tommy Randall in the Castrol car at the Enduros next year. So there's obviously, that's Erebus swooping on more young talent and taking their opportunity to sign someone up and obviously get the deal in front of him and get him signed up. So he's been pretty impressive in Super 2, Lockie, really. I mean, he's probably going to lose the championship to Ryland Gray, but he's gone toe-to-toe with him plenty of times, including at Bathurst at the last round. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he goes as part of that kind of youth-focused Erebus lineup.
Speaking of young blokes, speaking of Lockie, a trio of Supercars young guns have been blocked from getting a head start with their new teams during Monday's ride day. Well, that was today. Dick Johnson Racing with Ryland Gray, Erebus with Lockie Dalton, and Matt Stone Racing with Zach Bates had all planned to give their recruits laps at the Melbourne venue. However, a new for 2025 rule preventing primary drivers from either the Supercars or Super 2 series sampling cars outside their nominated team or group has seen the trio blocked. That was about 888 that rule was set up, I think.
Well, effectively, yeah. This is I sort of haven't had the opportunity to make the phone calls and really delve into it, but it feels like this is not what the rule was made for sure. It was to stop main game teams with technical alliances loaning drivers out on test days and sort of just building bigger data banks and different ideas and having drivers with a better understanding of how other teams in the alliance go about building and setting up their cars and that sort of stuff. So I don't think it was about giving young drivers the chance to go run a ride day and get a tiny little head start, because the ride days are not so much about car performance or anything like that.
It's familiarity.
It's just starting to learn the kind of ergonomics of the car and how the cars are kind of how everything's set up in the cockpit and that sort of stuff. So it's kind of hard with these things because you don't. It didn't really meet any sort of common sense, but you don't kind of know how difficult it is to skirt a rule once it's in the rule book, if you know what I mean. Like, how easy is it to get around that? So I'm not 100% sure. But, particularly if Ryan Story said that Tickford were happy for Ryland to do the laps.
Yep.
And I can't imagine they wouldn't have been because it's laps, particularly when he's about to go and try and win a Super 2 title. But, so then it really sort of fails the common sense test.
Yeah, I totally agree. But not surprising, I'm not going to lie either. Despite speculation for months that Chevrolet could introduce a new model to the NASCAR Cup Series, there was confirmation this week that the brand will introduce wait for this drum roll, an updated version of its Camaro to replace the Camaro in 2026. Nice. There are 6 Chevrolet teams in the NASCAR Cup Series, but more importantly for fans down here in Australia, supercar teams are watching with interest to see what could potentially replace the defunct Camaro in our series. And like I said, surprise, surprise, it's a Camaro.
Yeah, I didn't see too much of this, but does it look all right?
Yeah, it just looks like
Looks like a
a
Camaro.
Camaro. Like,
Yeah, beauty.
if you could have put it next to that one that ran at Le Mans that time, and I wouldn't know which one was which, to be honest. So
Fair
take that how you want. Let's talk about the MotoGP. Marco Bezzecchi gave Aprilia back-to-back wins for the first time in its Premier Class history in Sunday's season-ending Grand Prix of Valencia. The Italian leading from lights to flag to take his third win of the year in the same fashion as his second just 7 days previously in Portimao. Now, I want you to imagine what I'm about to tell you might have happened to George Russell, and then I'm going to ask you a question at the end of it. Franco Morbidelli and Spain's Alex Espargaro were rolling up to the grid before the start of the Valencia Grand Prix, where Espargaro stopped in his grid box. He actually did a bit of a stoppie before Morbidelli ran into the back of him, falling as a result. Morbidelli would start the race from pit lane, but would retire with a left-hand fracture after one lap. But it did some damage to Espargaro's bike as well. How do you think George would have reacted to having maybe his bike torn apart by someone else and then him falling on the ground and breaking in his hand? Because in the interview after the race, the Spaniard warned that Morbidelli has to be more careful. Broke 2 fingers. I just got hit. He just moved in on me. I didn't do anything. In Moto2, Senna Agius ran 8th for the last race of the year. In Moto3, Jake Ralston ran 17th with a busted shoulder, it must be said. And his final race in Moto3 at this stage at least, he's got no ride for next year, while Joel Kelso crashed out on lap 4 for a day that was pretty forgettable for the Aussies. And in TCR, AVL, Josh Buchan has hailed his TCR World Tour win at the Macau Grand Prix as the best moment of his career. He beat Lincoln co-driver Ma Qingao in the win for just by a few car lengths, it should be said, in the 10-lap finale. At the Gow Street circuit, Thed Bjork was third in the other 03 TCR. And finally, Valtteri Bottas and his partner Tiffany Cromwell have purchased a luxury vineyard retreat in South Australia. I think you park your truck there, they said.
I was about to say this is very timely news.
The vineyard, the Claren Vale. I was going to get a Chateau Vert de Fleur joke in there, but I just couldn't work it in. It's about 45 minutes south of Adelaide, spans 6 hectares, features 6 boutique guest houses where you can park trucks alongside a maid residence. Mate, Aussie Valtteri, he's just the bloke that just keeps on giving to us, including our economy, by the way.
Yeah, no, it's great. I might actually probably after Malala. After Malala this weekend, I've got a couple of nights to kill before we get into the swing of the Adelaide Grand Final. So I might have to go and see if Valtteri's cruising around.
Swing by. All right, we'll go to a break and a super cheap anti-ad before we come back with 4 word headlines from the weekend.
Full credit to the noise.
G'day, Super Cheap Autos Digest employee, former legend here, and I'm back with some incredible post-Sandown supercar round specials for you at Australia's leading auto spares, parts and accessories retailer. Want to congratulate someone for just getting out there and having a go? Need to tell someone that winning isn't everything? Then swing into Superchip and pick up one of these Tickford Participation Awards. Beautifully framed, they'll remind that person you love that you just appreciate that they went out there and gave it a shot. And they're just $24 each. They're sure to walk out the door slowly. Need to throw a heap of bad luck towards one of your enemies? Then come in and grab one of these Ryan Wood Black Cats. Just sit one of these in someone's pocket and watch the bad luck descend. If you're carrying one of these things, you could get thrown into a barrel of tits and come out sucking your thumb, and they're just $14 each, and they come with a bonus rearward-facing gun. Looking for a heap of good luck? Then swing by and grab one of these Kai Allen 4-leaf clovers. Just slip one of these into your pocket and watch the good times roll in. It's dead set like being shot up the arse by a rainbow, and they're just $12 each. What about you trying to teach your kids how to build an engine? Then come in and grab this 7,000-piece TCM Holden Torana engine jigsaw kit. Made from the shards of an expired S5000 engine from Sandown, this bastard will give the kids something to do for the next 16 weeks as they glue everything back together. 5 litres of the General's finest here at work, and they're just $12 a kilo. Speaking of slippery stuff, have you got an oil slick that goes from arsehole to breakfast time? Then come in and grab a caterer's-sized bag of kitty litter. This 17-tonne bag of sand is the perfect size sack of shit to clean up a 3-kilometre trail of Texas tea, and they're just $450 per tipper load. getting seriously excited about your favourite driver winning the title? Or you just overcome with a nationalistic pride when a bloke from the same country as you is about to win the world title? Then swing by to Supercheap and grab a David Croft bag of rags. This sack of material cut-offs will have you prepared for any spill in the commentary box when the moment gets the better of you. And they're just $26 for a small bag or $64 for the Ted Kravitz size. Get down to Supercheap Auto before these Sandown specials walk out the door, and I'll see you in a few weeks for some more Adelaide Supercar specials. Yes, welcome back. Let's do some forward headlines from over the weekend. I'm going to give you a person or a topic. You're just going to give me a headline. Don't worry about 4 words because I didn't. What's your forward headline for Thomas Randall?
It's the worst name segment in the history of this podcast. There's no doubt about it. All right, mine is
award-winning podcast, by the way.
Yeah. Mine is never looked in the game.
No.
I'm sorry, Tommy, but he was the only one of the 7 that at no point actually looked like going through. At least sort of, at least for Tommy's sake, Cam kind of bowed out with him in sympathy. But, there were points in the weekend where it looked like Cam could get in a position to at least get through on points. But it just never looked like it was happening for Tommy. He obviously tidied up the quality thing a bit on the Sunday, but, just never looked like a threat for the top 4, which is a shame. But again, I do, it's like, I just want to see him get out there and win some races. And I want to see the people that are vying for those top 4 to be guys that are. I love the format, but you do want, proven race winners that are really capable of going out there and winning a championship to be in the hunt. And we've got at least 4 of those in the championship. So I think that's got to be Tommy's big focus for next year. Obviously tough this year because Tickford just hasn't had the pace apart from Sydney, but he just has to get that win monkey off his back. He has to do it next year. And then, I do feel like it's going to really flick a switch in that bloke when he goes and gets that job done one day.
Behind every joke, there's an element of truth, AVL. You decide where the truth begins and the joke ends.
I'm scared already.
Forward headline for Thomas Randall, back into witness protection. Because, mate, I don't reckon I've seen him this year, let alone thought that he was a chance of going to Adelaide in the top 4. The fact that he's got to the final 7 is either remarkable or surprising. You decide. But, as you said, never once over the weekend did I think he's a sniff. In fact, never once before the weekend did I think he was a sniff. I never heard anyone say Randall's a smoky. No. So, Ryan Wood, what's your headline for Ryan Wood?
Turns out he's definitely got Percat's car from a few years ago because just the mechanical issues with that car. Like it's like WAU are a great race team, but there's something going on there that needs serious review with these costly issues that have kind of happened, you know. And I know it's not like one issue, but there's and I'm sure this is not something that's lost on the team at all. But they just, and there was a strip bolt, I believe, in one of the practice sessions that cost Woody a heap of track time as well. And these are the things that you have to kind of just get on top of to ensure that you can get 2 cars through to the end of the season, even though not having 2 cars, as we spoke about, and as I predicted, not having 2 cars in the semi-finals was actually
worked to a treat.
Worked really, really well.
Yeah.
On that Saturday in Sandown, but still, the teams have to be aiming to have both cars in contention. Anyway, sorry, go on.
My headline for Woody is never seen a bloke with so much luck.
Yeah,
he's got lots of luck, lots and lots of it. What's your headline for Kai Allen?
DJR's loss is Grove's gain. Like, whatever the sort of machinations of the whole scenario were, DJR decided they didn't want to continue with this guy when he was part of their team and ran a wild card with them and then was an enduro driver with them. And whatever the look and feel of the development contract he held with them was, there was an arrangement there. That's the underlying reality of the situation, and they decided not to progress with that. And as much as I did say before, I don't want him to win the Supercars championship, and I'm sorry, Kai. What I have been so impressed with him this year, like the way that he's developed as the year's gone on is amazing, and it's just cast this harsher and harsher spotlight on the fact that DJR set him free.
Yep. My headline is DJR on social media ban. I don't think they'll be looking at any sort of news, reading Speed Cafe. They won't be they just do not want to read about this because, like you just said, they trot on their collective dicks when they let him leave. What's your headline for Cam Waters?
If you're going down, may as well take someone with you. That was he really dragged Matt Payne down to his about to exit the finals level in that Sunday race. Although, to be honest, the fact that Matt was in that fight in the first place is kind of baffling. That was a really poor decision on his behalf. If as Garth Tander outlined, that from his perspective or his understanding was that Matt had been told that Cam had a penalty. And that Matt was more than safe where he was cruising around, and you don't really need to go and get involved in this fight, and he did. He engaged in it, and it cost him a shot at the final. So it's hard to kind of, as much as to go into that battle with Cam Waters in that moment was poor decision making from Matt. So you can't really blame Cam for that, but it was kind of entertaining to see him go, oh well, if one of us is going out, then we're both going out.
I still think there's a bit of a hangover from that Grand Prix come together a couple of years ago. My forward headline is actually did come out swinging. He's the first time someone said that and actually did it. It didn't work, but he did do it.
You got to love Cam for it. And even the fact that he was obviously just furious with that penalty and just went, all right, the next person that kind of gets anywhere near me. And he did say that he got, and I haven't overanalyzed the whole scenario, but he did say that Matt got into his rear bar, and that kind of made him go, all right, well, if you want to play this game, let's play it. But again, whether that happened or not, the fact that Matt even entertained the idea of going near a guy who's running a penalty and you don't need to pass and is one of the most aggressive racers, and I mean that in a positive way, in the field, to go and get involved in that when you don't need to, that's something I think that he should and will learn from.
I used to think he was a bit of a dick every time they put a microphone under his mouth. Now I actually think he's a genius. He's just a comedy genius. He sits there and just tells it how it is. What's your headline for Will Davison?
Should look good in Penrite black.
You got me.
Yeah, there you go.
I got impressed by Grove's speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jesus. How things have changed from Saturday night at Bathurst when there was a different rumour around. But, yeah. What about Anton? Cracking weekend.
Please keep this going next year because we need a strong GM team. And this Team 18 Anton De Pasquale combo looks so good on its good days.
Yep.
So we need more of them, so just keep it going. Keep it going into next year.
There's two ways of looking at this, but I'm going to give it the obvious. The hero that Chev needs is Anton, but geez, he was quick at Erebus. He's now pretty quick in Team 18. Love to sit him down and ask about DJR years and just get an insight into that. Second last, Austin Cindric. What's your headline around him?
Now allowed to finish Adelaide races because there's no Tickford cars there that he needs to be deployed as some sort of finals winning weapon for.
Yeah.
He'll have the green light to go to the checkered flag if he wants to.
My headline is Old Supercars saying Sandown's great preparation for Adelaide. Said no one ever.
Well, the fast, long flowing openness at the bend is not exactly amazing either. But anyway, it was. I was reading his quotes today after driving the car, and it was quite insightful. He's obviously like a kind of thought-driven race car driver. So. Yeah, and he's right foot braking. He's made a conscious decision to just go, no, I'm going to commit to doing this because this is the best way to drive these cars, even if it takes me a little bit longer to get my head around it. So that's impressive as well.
Finally, Castrol. What's your forward headline from the weekend for Castrol?
I don't have one, but I assume you're going something livery related here.
Retro livery saved the weekend because otherwise we mightn't have seen that car. But yeah, it looked really good. All right. We'll go to a break. We'll come back with Rear of Grid.
Full credit to the noise. Winter could spell bad news for your vehicle's battery. Here are 3 maintenance tips from the battery gurus at R&J Batteries. 1. Avoid frequent short trips to keep your battery at a healthy state of charge. 2. Keep the battery terminals clean and corrosion-free. 3. Avoid running your accessories with the engine off for too long. If your battery is 3 years or older, it might be time to get it tested for free at your local R&J Batteries. R&J Batteries, power like nothing else.
Rear of grid, do you want to talk about anything, or are we going to get straight to the credit or shreddits, given that it's about midnight?
Yeah, it is very late. Yeah, no, keep going.
I'll give you 6 statements. You just tell me if you agree with the credit or disagree with the shredit. We'll revisit them after it. Number 1, the way Lando is about to win the F1 title makes a mockery of the need for papaya rules.
Shred it.
Credit. Given their resources and talent in their team, Tickford are the biggest disappointment / non-achievers on the Supercars grid.
Credit.
Credit. Number 3, the right blokes are in the Final 4 for Adelaide.
You know my thoughts on this already. I'm going to have to go shred it.
Credit. With the finals on the line, Sandown is the best place for the penultimate round.
Credit.
Yeah, credit. Number 5, this has been a vintage year of supercars with some of the best racing we have seen for a long time.
Yeah, I'll say credit.
Credit. Number 6, road bikes and e-bikes, as in both the push bike versions, should have to be registered.
Credit.
Credit. All right, we'll go back. Lando and the papaya rules. Given that why do they muck around and infect the result of so many things?
I don't think the outcome of the title makes the rules are a mockery of themselves.
Okay.
Like the outcome of the title doesn't matter. Like it's just they are a complete mockery. But it's nothing to do with who wins the championship.
Don't you think that this shows? Because look, if Lando doesn't win it, I'll eat my hat. But he's going to win by quite some margin unless somehow Oscar finds some speed rapidly on tracks that don't really suit him. So why don't they just let the fastest bloke win each time and stop mucking around with confected results?
They definitely should. But I don't think the outcome of the championship matters on that. But I don't. That is 100% what they absolutely should have done.
Tickford, the biggest disappointment on the grid.
It's kind of a long-held theory that it's an underperforming team. And the fact that they've won so few titles, even though they had long stints as kind of the Ford factory team and this and that, is like it makes the theory difficult to disprove. And even this year, I think if you've got a driver of the caliber of Cam Waters, not being in the Final 4 is a failure. Like it just has to be seen as that, whatever circumstances might be behind it. So, yeah, that's why I went credit on that. It's obviously it's not the old FBR days in terms of mega manufacturer funding and this and that, but it is a team that views itself as a front running team and has one of the absolute best drivers in the field and a very good second driver as well. But
that's right.
Yeah, like it's not being able to get a driver through to battle for the championship under this new format. That has to sting for that team, and if it doesn't, then I don't know why they're even doing it.
I agree with everything you just said. The right blokes are in the Final 4. You said shred it.
Yeah, well, I love Kai. He's done brewing to get through. But at the expense of Brody Kostecki, Ryan Wood, Cam Waters, it's just a tough argument to make that it's a perfect Final 4. That's also the point of the exercise, right? So, but I just feel like Kai's chances of winning it are slim, and I'm really giving him a great springboard here to go and do it, because I've said multiple times that I hope he doesn't and that I don't think he can do it, so he's probably going to go and prove me wrong. And I only say that the chances are slim because he is a rookie and he hasn't won a race. So having another proven winner in that mix might have made the finals product. Like if you had a Brody or a Cam in there who's a really established race-winning driver going up against 3 other really established race-winning drivers, it might have made the product slightly better. I'm not complaining about what it is, but the question was, is it the right Final 4? And that's where I struggle with that statement. And
I say credit because I think all 4 are a great story. You've got Brock who...
That's true, yeah.
You've got Brock who has won, a lot of races this year, and in years gone by might have already wrapped it up. If not, would be going there, probably needing to run 12th and 12th and lock it up.
And that's why we're doing this thing, because that would just suck.
Yeah. You've got Will Brown, the defending champion. You've got Chaz, who has promised for so many years to get one of these knocked over. This is his best chance by a long shot. And then you've got the kid. I think it's a fantastic Final Four with a story from every angle. So, yeah, I guess it depends on how you interpret the statement, but I reckon it's a great four. The finals, I like. Sandown's the best place for the penultimate round. Sandown in rain, I'd like to add. That would
but Saturday's race was good without it as well.
It was a good race.
So I think it's a good venue. Like I think it worked. I think that really worked.
One of the best years of racing we've seen. I think the last 3 rounds we've been spoiled, and maybe it's recency bias, but geez, it's been good.
Yeah, totally. No, I've really enjoyed this year.
Road bikes and e-bikes should have to be registered.
Yeah, I guess I don't really care about road bike. Like I don't really care about push bikes, but e-bikes. Most of them are faster than my 50cc moped, and I have to get that regoed. So I guess it probably makes sense.
There is dead set. There is a death waiting to happen with some of these things. They are weapons, and they tell me they can unlock them to go even faster if you know how to recode them. They are, but then again, the way some of these flogs in Lycra hold up overtaken lanes around this area, it wouldn't hurt to have number plates on them at least. Our letter of the week, which was actually one of my points that I was going to raise in Credit or Shred It, comes from Cameron Bates, another Bates. If Woody and Chaz in Saturday's race were in NASCAR, that would be called race manipulation. At what point is Supercars going to draw the line? We could have a champion crowned by what I thought was shit racing. Where's the line if Woody was a lap down? Is it good if it's another Ford or another Chev team? I see his point, although after you sort of spoke earlier, I see your point. I mean, if he's a lap down, then I think it is manipulation.
That's exactly so. What Cameron points out there is exactly where the line is. You know, that's it. That is exactly the line.
Blue
because
flags,
if he was a lap down, then he wouldn't have been allowed to hold Will Brown up like that. He would have been penalised for it. But he was racing for position, and he didn't race unfairly or illegally for position. So I don't see how it's race manipulation. You know, you might do that any given day. He might have, gone for a different strategy. His tyres were blown off. There was no way he was ever going to catch Chaz. And then they say, hey, just do your best to hold up Will Brown to give Chaz a chance to win the race. That happens all the time. So it definitely wasn't race manipulation at all. I don't think it would necessarily be considered that in NASCAR either. Obviously, the racing style is totally different in NASCAR because it's much more difficult to kind of defend. But no, I got no issue for that. As for the Ford Chev team thing, so the Supercars rules, and this predates finals by years, it goes back to sort of, I think, kind of mid-2000s territory, are very clear that no instructions can come from a manufacturer from one team to do anything to help another driver from another team, if that makes sense. So team orders within a team are totally allowed. There's nothing to stop a team saying we're going to swap the positions of these cars. But a Ford driver from one team can't swap a position with another Ford driver from another team for the good of the brand at the instruction of Ford, if that kind of explains it. And that's a rule. So I don't think teams would actually ever do it. So it's not like, that's DTM, old school DTM style stuff where, the manufacturer would sit above the teams and could control any car from any team. But still, so there is a rule to actually prevent, manufacturers getting involved in it, even though it's probably superfluous because, again, I don't know if we literally saw 2 Ford drivers take each other out of the finals.
It's like the old AU days.
We literally saw that happen on Sunday. So there's obviously no huge manufacturer sort of edict out there saying that you have to all help each other because, 2 very good drivers that could easily have won Ford a championship crash into each other and they're both out of contention. So
how's this? If Kai doesn't defy the odds and somehow win the championship, whoever wins out of the other 3, the number 1 will go on a different manufacturer to the car that actually won the title.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, that's a good one.
So
that's a good one.
I hate that, to be honest. But anyway.
You actually asked about the market, like to frame a market for them. Have you actually looked at what the actual markets are?
Have you?
Are you going to get... No, I haven't.
Do you want to push pause while I just have a quick look?
No, I'm not sure it'd be out there yet.
We'll talk about
surely
it
if you're that confident, in Kai Allen, you've got to get amongst that.
I'll have a sneaky bet. Don't worry about that. Could rain, could do anything, mate. Could do anything.
That's true.
Turn 8 could step out and grab a couple of them. Just as long as it doesn't grab his car, I'm a chance.
He wasn't really fancy to win the Super 2 title in 2023, and he did, so in Adelaide. So
Yep.
who knows?
Maybe we went to Bathurst and busted one up early, and then the thing was held together by sticky tape and paddle pop sticks for the entire weekend, and he did nothing.
Wasn't that 2024?
I think that was 24, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the next year where he didn't win.
Yeah, when he probably should have before going to Bathurst, but then it all sort of fell apart.
Yeah.
All right. That'll about do us for this episode of Full Credit of the Noise, the first episode that's gone over 2 days because it's now past midnight. Don't forget you can find the show on all the socials at FCTTN Podcast, and you can read AVL's excellent work at speedcafe.com, where they break all the big motorsport news first. Until next time, I've been Former Legend, he's been AVL, this has been Full Credit of the Noise, and we'll see you at Malala.
Yes, please, come say hi.
See you there.
Full credit to the noise.